Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Pirates in Chicago against the Cubs. Pens taking the ice tomorrow in Toronto, and the Steelers a few days into training camp over on the North Shore. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm your host, Josh Taylor, of course, in for Rich Walsh this evening. Joining me in studio, or I should say joining me from the 93.7 The Fan Studios, I believe, at least I hope. He's there. There he is. There's Paul Zeiss, hosting his own show on 93.7 Fan weekends. I should say weekdays at 6 in the evenings. Also a columnist for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Josh. It's been a while. I'm glad that we get to do it tonight for the first time in a long time.
I want to say the last time I did it was you and I together. So, or I should say during that little break that we had, it was you and I together. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Pirates' lack of offense or the Pirates' lack of offense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I last was watching them before I came over here to get ready to get on the show, it's absolutely incredible how many bad at bats. Forget about not getting hits. I mean, just bad at bats, bad swings. I mean, and I think the umpires' strike zone is a little bit funny, but still, they've had some really, really bad at bats tonight. And I don't know what's going on other than you just say they're rusty, right?
It's funny because the last time I did this show last Saturday night, I talked about bad at bats and not extending at bats or just having bad results across the board. So it seems like this is a trend that continues. But you look at the lineup that was in place tonight, it looked like the most Major League adjacent lineup maybe as far as the names that we saw, and still lack of results is still glaring.
Well, there's no Osuna, right? I mean, is he hurt? What's going on with him? Is he hurt? He should be in the lineup. He's one of your best bats. I mean, you need offense. I'm not sure why you don't have him going. And, I'm sure there's some number that, he doesn't do well against Darvish or whatever, but it doesn't make sense to me. To me, and this is already, it's only 7 or 8 games in, but this is already driving me crazy about Shelton. I'm hoping it's just because it's his first time doing it and he's trying to learn his personnel. But this thing where we've got to have a different lineup every single night to prove how smart we are is absolutely silly. It's hurts baseball, and you know what? Teams that the really good teams, they play their best players almost every night, and they just go from there.
Now, to your point, we got a couple of tweets, one from George and one from Bob. I'm pretty sure I got the same tweets from George and Bob Saturday night, and they asked me the exact same question: where's Jose Osuna? We talked about this Saturday night. I feel like he's a guy who should have at least some consideration being in the lineup on a regular basis, just because he provides an offensive presence and more of a defensive presence, which some of these guys in the lineup don't always provide. And it comes to what you're saying, maybe sometimes they don't know maybe who their best guys are because they don't know who can provide consistent output on offense and play reliable defense at the same time. That might be part of the problem.
Well, again, I mean, they have two, they're distinctive lineups. If they want to put their best defensive lineup on the field, it's completely different than their best offensive lineup. Mm-hmm. But to me, I feel like they need to just go with offense and try and get their bats going and try and start to score some runs. Obviously, defense is important. It's a big part of the game. But if you can't score runs, it really doesn't matter. And, it seems like the pitching, except for a couple of relievers, it seems like the pitching's been okay. I mean, it's been good enough to win, but you got to score runs. That's the bottom line. And if you can't score, boy, it's hard to win games.
I'd make the argument that in the 2 games that Trevor Williams has started and the 2 games Joe Musgrove has started, with just a little bit of average run support, those outcomes probably look a lot better. Maybe they don't look as bad on the starting pitching. I have to agree with you in that regard. And that's totally setting the bullpen to the side because they've had issues of their own. But while we're talking about all these different things that are kind of spiraling out of control, it also doesn't help when one of the guys who should be one of your big bats finally gets back in the lineup. Gregory Polanco had been sidelined for a while because he had tested positive for COVID-19, and then he comes back in and continues to not provide any kind of punch whatsoever. But here's what we'll do. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got a really good tweet of the night related to baseball, and it's a question I think Paul might find interesting. We'll talk about it when we come back. Stick around.